Hey guys, I'm back on YouTube. Anyway, I have a legendary gift I want to show. So you know how you sometimes want to fidget when you watch YouTube videos, but there are no fidgets around. Then you can use these keys I'm showing you right now. They are YGHVBN. Also, if you are a nerd, you can also use ASD, W doesn't work, and some other keys. You can click them all you want, and it won't pause or rewind your video. Please note that, if you have different keyboards like Dvorak, this may not work. Okay, thanks for watching.